Welcome to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. And now, here is your host, T. Allen Haynes.
Welcome back to the show. We've got a great guest for you today. We have Chris Rawley. And in 2016, while visiting a farm investment in Central America, he conceived the idea of building a crowdfunding platform to streamline agricultural investment. He soon founded Harvest Returns to bring that vision to reality. And Rawley has held corporate management roles in Jones Lang LaSalle, Electronic Data Systems, L3 Communications, and also served as a defense consultant at Special Operations Command headquarters with Blackbird Technologies. He has invested in real estate and income-producing agriculture for nearly 2 decades. And as a captain in the United States Navy Reserve, Rawley is the commanding officer of a unit focused on building maritime security partnerships in the piracy-plagued Gulf of Guyana. During his 25-year military career, Rawley has filled a variety of leadership positions in naval, expeditionary, and joint special operation units afloat and ashore. He's also deployed to Afghanistan, Iraq, and throughout Africa and the Middle East and the Western Pacific. Rawley has a degree from Texas A&M University and earned an MBA at George Washington University. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, Alan. Glad to be here.
Oh, you're welcome. And again, thank you for your service to the country. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So let's just get right into it. Tell us a little bit about Harvest Returns and the type of clients that you're helping.
So Harvest Returns is an online platform for people who want to invest in agriculture, and we really have 2 types of clients. The first are farmers and ranchers and people who grow things involved in production agriculture who want to raise money. And so the problem they have is a lot of the people that we speak to aren't able to get conventional sorts of ag credit and ag loans, either because they have a lot of student debt or because of the way their deal is structured. Maybe they have long-growing crops. And so we've had this tremendous response from growers who want to raise capital to fund their agriculture products. And the other sort of client we have are investors who want to diversify their portfolio with hard, tangible assets. In our case, it's income-producing agriculture. And so these are people who are maybe a little bit concerned about the stock market or just want to have a bit of their portfolio that's in something that's real and produces a regular stream of income.
That's awesome. Find a need and fill it, right? So, right. Beautiful. So, I understand you got a military background, but what led you to this field and how did you get started?
So you kind of covered my background, but what was not really in there was that I have always been enamored with real estate and real assets as an investment class. I've been an investor a long time in commercial and residential real estate. And several years ago, Congress passed a law called the Jobs Act of 2012, which enables people to accumulate or aggregate large numbers of people to invest in real estate. At about the same time, I also became more interested in agriculture. It's a really compelling asset class from the perspective that it's essential to everyone's lives. We all need to eat. We all need to wear clothing. We all live in some sort of structure that's got wood in it. So agriculture, timber production is a very the demographics behind it are impressive. The world population is growing. And as people become wealthier throughout the world, they eat more protein. On top of that, agriculture as an asset class has great returns. It's actually outperformed U.S. farmland, for example, has outperformed other asset classes such as the S&P 500, gold, bonds, you name it, from the past 30 or 40 years or so. So from those 2 perspectives, it's a great thing to invest in. And so kind of keeping that knowledge in mind, I had just sort of a flashing idea when I was down actually looking at a farm in Panama summer of 2016 that I should combine these 2 ideas to bring together a number of investors with a crowdfunding model, equity crowdfunding model, and then we started this company, my partner and I, last summer of 2016.
Very, very cool. Yeah, it's definitely swaying to the favor of those folks that want to invest in that. So that's an awesome platform that you come up with there. So along the way, was there a book that's really inspired you?
Yeah, there's some great books. I'm a big fan of The Lean Startup. That book tells you how to basically start a company using all the new technologies out there. And of course, equity crowdfunding is one of those, and we were able to leverage some existing technology. But the other interesting thing I like about that book is that it really encourages experimentation. So we do a lot of that in our company, where we try something on a small scale. If it doesn't work, we try something else, and we keep going over and over again. So I think that's a great book for aspiring entrepreneurs.
Yeah, isn't that the way of the entrepreneur, though, is don't be afraid to fail and fail fast?
Yeah, exactly.
If it doesn't work, you just try again. And so, yeah, perfect. What about along the way? I mean, I've read a little bit about you, and I feel your passion, but how about a person? Is there someone that sticks out that's really inspired you?
Sure. I've worked with a lot of great leaders in the military over the past 25 years and have some of them very inspiring. But I'll say that the person that really inspired me and has kind of led me to start this company was my father, who was also kind of a real estate entrepreneur back in the early 1970s in Texas. So, yeah, I think he kind of, and his father for that matter, was also a sort of a real estate entrepreneur involved in some really early commercial drugstores back in the mid 20th century. So I will attribute my inspiration to him.
Very cool. That's awesome. So what did you find to be the biggest misconception when people were trying to invest in these agricultural assets?
Yeah, a lot of people, they may have heard of crowdfunding. So there's really two types of crowdfunding. There's sort of the donor or social crowdfunding, which is like Kickstarter and GoFundMe, where people are raising money for their sort of personal causes or charities or those sorts of things. And that's a really common and successful form of crowdfunding. But there's also equity crowdfunding. As I mentioned before, the laws changed a few years back to allow people to bring in equity investors to bring money, and it streamlines a lot of the rules associated with the Securities and Exchange Committee to raise capital. So if you're raising money for a business or real estate, or in our case, agriculture, crowdfunding is a pretty easy way to do it, all things considered. I'd say it's easy. There's a lot of barriers to start up for what we're trying to do, but there's also, from the investor side, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, with this new opportunity for people, I mean, people get hung up on, that's not for me, I don't have enough money to invest, or, it's not, I don't have the right assets. But could you clarify that a little bit on who could actually participate in something like this?
Sure. So the crowdfunding rules are dynamic, and they are still, in my opinion, overly restrictive on who can invest in these private placement deals. So we have two types of deals. One allows for accredited investors only, and those are people who have a high net worth or high income earning. Generally, it's investable assets over $1 million. So there is a barrier to many people to invest there. But we also have some deals that allow you to invest a portion of your net worth that you don't have to be an accredited investor. And eventually, we'll offer more of these sorts of retail investor deals. The nice thing, though, in either case, our minimums are very small, starting at $5,000. So even if you're a wealthy individual, but you've never invested in agriculture, you're able to just kind of dip your toes in the water with a small investment. And then once you become comfortable with the asset class, you can invest as much as you like, or you can diversify smaller amounts across our different projects on the platform.
What are some of the pitfalls that they might not be aware of going into these investments?
Obviously, every investment has risk, whether you're investing in stocks, whether you're investing in bonds, even keeping your money in cash has a risk that your money will be eroded with inflation. And our investments are no different. There's different sorts of risk. For agriculture, some of the specific risks are weather-related, drought-related, disease, those sorts of things. But there's also ways to mitigate that risk by using crop insurance or hedging. And the third way to mitigate that risk is by having really experienced farmers. And that's what we do when we vet the deals, is we make sure that the farmers and the growers, the people that are producing the agriculture that's producing the returns for the investors, know what they're doing. They've got experience in a specific crop, or they have the technical expertise, or they hire a farm manager who is experienced. And that's one of the ways that the risk can be mitigated for our investors. And of course, we also recommend that investors do their own due diligence and consult their tax professional and investment professional before they invest even a small amount in any of our deals. Just like any other investment, read the offering documents and know what you're getting into.
Can you share a story with us how someone's actually successfully gone through this program?
Yeah, so we have been around for about a year and a half, and we launched in August. So we have, I think, 4 deals live right now on the platform, and we've been talking to a number of farmers and helping them raise money. We haven't completely filled out one of our raises yet, but we're on the way there. And the farmers that we're working with are really great people. In most cases, we're gonna meet with these people. We'll go visit the farm and get to know them. And as an investor, you can also do the same. You can go visit their farm, get to know the family, or get to know the sponsors who's doing the growing. And that's, one of the guys we're working with is here in North Texas. He's a livestock farmer, originally from Minnesota. Just a great guy with a really interesting concept and doing sustainably raised livestock. So we're helping him. We meet with him. We go visit his farm, and as an investor, you'll be able to share those updates on how the farm is doing and those sorts of things.
So if somebody was wanting to move forward in this, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give to them?
From the investor side, the best piece of advice is, read the offering documents. Feel free to ask questions. We know that not everyone is familiar with agriculture, so we have some educational pieces and ways to directly contact the sponsor or the farmer to ask them questions to make sure you're confident in what your investing is and as it's presented. If you are a farmer and you're interested in raising money, it's not magic. Crowdfunding is not magic. It takes a lot of work. We do reduce the learning curve. That's what we're here for, is to reduce the learning curve for farmers who want to raise capital and reduce the cost up front and some of the legal and regulatory pain that might be involved with raising capital. So we're happy to talk to both the investors and the farmers to educate them on any sort of knowledge gaps they may have in the process.
Perfect. So if the listeners are ready to find out more, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Alan. The best way is just to go to our website, harvestreturns.com. You can also follow us on social media. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, LinkedIn, and we produce an educational blog that has a lot of sort of agriculture investing 101. And so I encourage people who have never invested in agriculture to kind of visit those blogs and read about what we're doing. And then you can sign up, and literally within, a half an hour, you could be invested in one of our deals online. It's a pretty streamlined investing process. It's all automated, not only the investment piece, but then the management of your distributions and your tax documents and the updates you get from the farmers.
Very cool. Well, that's an awesome program you got going there, and I want to thank you again for being on the show today.
You're very welcome, and I appreciate the opportunity.
You're very welcome. There you have it for this edition of the show. We'll see you the next time.
Thanks for listening to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show with T. Allen Haynes. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. We will see you next time on the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show.